Hello.
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 Thank
Welcome.
Welcome.
you for accepting me into your Discord
Of course.
and for the work you're doing. Um, oh boy. Okay, so where to start? I learned about you from Angelo's channel. If you want to know how
Thank you.
people come here,
Yep. Yep.
um, uh, and I um, I have multiple species of aneurotypicality. Which I know other people in the group do too, but
Oh
I
yeah.
have both I have both visual and auditory aphantasia, um, which is interesting in with non-dual teaching because I find I have to do a lot of
Yeah.
translating
Yes.
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make it
Yeah.
kind of work from my mind. Um, but what I've learned is that my primary sense is the body
Mm.
Yeah.
sense, and
Yeah.
this was this is last couple of years, and I was blown away when I came to understand this because um, I'm so disassociated from my body. So
Yeah.
I'm like a extremely visual person who's worn a blindfold
Yeah.
all his life, and is
Yeah.
um, I come from my parents were college professors. I come from a family where it was like from the neck up.
It's up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I find is that any somatic work is really potent for me. And in my meditation every day, it's all I'm staying in the body
Yeah.
Yep.
as much as I can. Um, and I'm doing yoga and TRE, and all this stuff is very new to me of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
being in my body at all.
Yeah.
Um, I also think I understand, or at least I have a story now about why, like, I never understood when people talk about meditation being blissful or even
Mm.
calming. I'm like, what are they talking about? It's like the body sensations. I've been doing it for 10 years, and even 10 years in, the uncomfortable body sensations are constant.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um,
There.
and that's just where I am right now, right? So, um, but the other a neurotypicality for me is autism, and I have what I think is pretty typical for autistic people in that oversensitivity
Mm.
to and overwhelm for all kinds of sensation. Um,
Yeah.
and body sensation. So, I'm always like, oh, my collar is touching my neck and, all that. Yeah, yeah. All that kind of stuff. So, and one of the big ones for me is itches.
Mm.
So when every meditation teacher I've ever had is like, well, if you get an itch, rather than scratching it, sit with it and all this kind of stuff. But I was always like, well, they don't understand. They don't
They
understand.
don't.
My brain can't
Yeah.
tell an itch from pain.
No.
Um,
Different rules apply.
yeah.
Different.
So
Yeah. Different rules
right.
apply. Yeah.
So I may have come to a slightly different place than where you're maybe going to guide me with
Okay.
this, and that's why I want to talk about it. So I, I also realized that I, I had a belief that I didn't realize I had, which is that going into the body, like the time to do that is when you have a body sensation that you can tell a story about it, that it's connected to an emotion.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
like, sure, if I'm feeling anger, and this is like the way therapists talk about it and everything.
Yeah.
If you're feeling anger, where is it in your body?
Hmm.
But somehow for me, sensations that weren't obviously connected to an emotion, like a stub toe pain or something, I was like, well, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
And so the itches were the same thing. I was like, well, I don't even need to examine them because that's not an itch isn't
Right.
anger or sadness, or I'm
Right.
not so sure about that anymore. But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, so I know you were shaking your head, but I sort of something happened about 3 weeks ago where I thought my entire life has been probably once a minute doing some kind of self-soothing to distract myself from a body sensation, like so much that I don't even notice I'm doing it, like constantly adjusting, scratching, like just
Yeah.
like there's this level of constant discomfort that I'm distracting myself from. And 3 weeks ago, I just had an intuition of just stop.
Mm.
And all this stuff came up like, but I can't. The itch. If I get the itch, as a child, I used to have these terrors of being immobilized because I was like, what if I couldn't scratch an itch? Like, I don't know
Yeah.
if I'd survive that. Um, so anyway, for the first time in my life, I've stopped scratching itches. There are other sensations too, but itches seem like easy to work with because they're
Yeah.
they're reliable. They're going to come
Yeah.
constantly, mostly on my face. And um, I was watching a video of a therapist who was talking about how she had done the same thing. And she was like, well, what I find is that, you know, after about 20 seconds or 30 seconds, if I don't scratch it, if I just really go into that sensation,
Hmm.
it goes away.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe that will happen to me. I learned, no, if I don't scratch the itch, it can go on for 10 minutes, 15 minutes and grow and grow and grow in intensity. But not, I found out that I am able to not scratch the itches. Like I get taken right up to the brink of, I can't, I'm going to panic. But I never fall into panic. I just get really close to it and then I'm okay, even if
Mm.
it goes on for 10 minutes. And after one of these little, I don't know, internal battles or whatever it is, these just floods of sensation, there's a kind of a vulnerability and a rawness and an openness that I'm not used to feeling and seems like kind of like cracking through something
Yeah.
a bit, like thawing out from some disassociation. So anyway, I just wanted to get your
Yeah.
impression about of this because it just seems like a thing that I've been ignoring all my life.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
huge.
Yeah, it really, really sounds like it is. And I love how aware you are of this being, a gold pot for you. You said that the time to go into the body is when you have like a pain, or you can make like a, a little story, an emotional connection, a little story about it. We would both say to you that the time to go into your body is when you have a body,
Yeah.
right? The time to go into the body is all the time,
Yeah.
because 5% is your mind. It's nothing. It's 5%. You wouldn't even bet on that, if it was a bet.
Mhm.
95% is in the body. And the majority of it that is like really, really gold to you, for you to learn from, you would never ever know consciously what that was about, because it's a little click that is happening in the body, and you can
Mhm.
just feel something is different, but you cannot explain what it is that's different. So you're on the right path. The thing that I would like, to take you by the shoulders and steer away from that way and into that direction instead, is that it sounds a little bit to me that you're forceful. And I would love for you not to be forceful, but to be compassionate and curious and unconditionally accepting anything that is coming up. Because it's not about you not scratching an itch. It's about you feeling your body. And then with love and compassion, you move, you cut the label out of your clothes, and you turn your socks inside out, and you do all of those normal things, because different rules apply for us. We have a different nervous system. It's like having sun glaring into your eyes. You turn your head away, or you take on a pair of sunglasses. It's just a normal love and compassionate action towards something that needs to be met, and then you meet the need. So if you feel that you need to scratch, then obviously scratch. You do that with love and compassion and kindness. I do, however, want you to feel that from the inside, because you say that I would die. if I don't scratch it, I will die. If I had the fear when I was a child that if I couldn't scratch it, being mobile, I would die. That is a huge story that you have never investigated, because obviously you're not gonna die because your nose is itchy, you know? But you can feel into that itchiness from the inside, because we are very, very quick in the mind to feel an itchy nose, and then immediately we have an image of how it is to be in the world where the nose is not itchy. Oh, I want that. And then it's the nose, and that is it. We just missed a huge opportunity to feel what is actually arising in this moment. Because as you know, the moment you scratch your nose, you're happy for 5 seconds, and then something else is happening. Oh, it's the shoulder. Oh, that's good. It's the knee. Now it's the knee. So instead of that constant chasing of what could be better, then stay here and feel what is arising right now. And I think that is, if I should interpret and guess and all of that, that is what, a neurotypical body therapist would say. In her world, it would be just notice what it is. For us, it's like, feel that from the inside. How does it actually feel in this moment where everything is arising right now? The sun is shining, you're doing an inhalation, you're feeling your feet on the floor, you're present, you notice your earlobes, and now notice your nose that is itchy, So instead of letting this itch being taking up the entire world, notice all the other things that is arising in this moment together with an itchy nose. So it's no longer a diversion. It's a call to awakening in this moment, and in this moment, and in this moment. So there's an awareness, there's like a tap on the shoulder right now. Whenever you feel a scratch on itch somewhere, see it as, a tap on the shoulder for you to wake up in this moment and in this moment. So it's not about itching or not itching. It's about waking up right now to notice what is alive and present right now.
Thank you. I love that. I actually have felt, along with other feelings of, I don't want this. I've also felt some gratitude
Yeah.
for it, for exactly the reason you say, because each time it just pulls me into the present. When I don't immediately scratch like that without any mindfulness at all, when I take that pause, it feels like it's such an alive body feeling.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. And like you talked about, that could actually be the reason why you're diverting all the time. We have like we have a little film in our mind, so I can, with a movie in my mind, imagine like a cat jumping up on the dining table, even though we don't have a cat. I can, with a movie in my mind, imagine that happening. You haven't got that. You can't do that. All you have is the arising in the body in this present moment, now and now and now. There's nothing to divert your attention away from what is arising right now. And I can imagine as a child, not having any type of escape has given you different survival mechanisms than the rest of us we have because of aphantasia. So allow you to be the adult in the room now, and to meet you with everything that is arising in this moment right now, and just experience that.
thank you. Yeah.
I'm also super curious. I had two things, but the first one is just out of base curiosity, and I know words aren't going to really be useful for describing this, but if you don't have an internal visual or auditory world, and you also spend most of your life not really in the body, like, where were you? What was your experience of the world? Was it just in the external sensations of sights and sounds and things like that? What is your sort of? Yeah, and I know it's a very hard thing, I'm sure, to.
I think it is largely external. Um, I'm a visual artist, which
Oh, wow.
kind of blows people's mind when I say I have the aphantasia, but I can't I have to just, I can't like look at a vase of flowers and then draw it, because when my
Mm.
eyes move from the flowers to the canvas, I've
If
already lost
the
the
image is
flowers.
lost, that
So
is so fascinating.
it's sort of abstraction and things like that that are just right on the canvas,
Yeah.
like making a mark and seeing it and reacting to it and that sort
Yeah.
of thing. But I do think even when I'm disassociated from my body, I'm never fully disassociated from
Mm.
it. So I think
Mm.
even at my most frozen, it was still my primary
Yeah.
sense. I
Yeah.
was just fighting it all the time, and then just mostly fighting it by this whole intellectual world of abstractions, of just
Yeah.
going into my head and my head and my head and philosophy and all this stuff. Yeah. I guess the one other thing I'll say about that is I lived in New York City for 20 years for a lot of my adult life, and I used the excitement and chaos of that
Yeah.
city
Yeah.
to distract myself
Yeah.
from. So there was always something visual, external,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
auditory and everything, always 24 hours a day. And I moved to a much quieter place, and that's kind of forced me to confront myself
Yeah.
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
way that
Absolutely.
yeah,
We have talked about that we would like to create a panel of
Yeah.
people with aphantasia and then make a video where because we have a lot of people in our community
yeah,
that have those experiences, and then simply just have a talk with
Yeah.
all of you that we
yeah,
record and put on YouTube on how it is to be in the world and to work with
yeah.
awakening when you
I,
have
I
when you
I'd
can't
love to be.
visualize. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to be part of that, and I'm cognizant of the other people who are waiting to speak. So, Todd, the question you asked me, I could talk for much longer and more in
Yeah,
We
depth
would
yeah,
love
about
that.
it
We
and
would
we
love
would love
that.
if
to
at
hear it because
some point in the future.
absolutely, because even when you say that
Yeah,
you retreated into philosophy, I wonder without like for me, I need the internal dialogue to even
yeah,
have like an internal dialogue about something philosophical. So yeah, I
yeah.
just find that absolutely yeah. And Leela, we know you're definitely going to be up
Yeah.
for that and be there for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm happy to be involved in that too. Did you say you had one other question or
Well, yeah, I was
comment?
just it was just a little comment about the when you were talking and you really largely covered this too, but when it comes to that sitting and just watching the itch and waiting for it to go away, it was concerning when you got to the point where it's like, brink of madness before it, and before you do something about it. I think it's probably a difference of the neurology where I would say I think the reason that most teachers give that kind of a suggestion is because in sort of a neurotypical neurology, when we pay attention to something for more than a few seconds, it just goes away. Like
Mhm.
that's we have that sensory, what's it called? Not sensory blindness. There's a term for it
Yeah.
where we very quickly lose contact with those sensations. And so if you have an itch, our normal reaction is just to go to it and scratch. But if you just sit with it for, like that person said, 20 or 30 seconds, it changes. It either completely dissolves or it becomes something different or
Something
it
else.
becomes like pleasurable or something is underneath it. And it sounds like your nervous system might not work that same way if it just keeps ever increasing and getting bigger and bigger and fuller and fuller. So it is important to take into consideration that bodies are different and
Different rules
yeah,
apply.
exactly.
Different rules apply. It's really something that whenever you watch a video of anybody saying something and coming with recommendations, have that in the back of your mind. Different rules apply.
Mhm.
And because even when you said that the itch, is more like a pain, theoretically, even in sort of a neurotypical context, we talk about sitting with pain, like even really excruciating chronic pain, and that can also change and dissolve and become pleasant and have all of these things, but not everybody, right? It's not like it's some metaphysical truth of like the soul in the body that somehow learns and transmutes it. It's like we're talking about the physiological neuroanatomy of the body and the nerves in the body. They just don't all react the same way. And instead of taking it as like, this is my personal failing that I can't sit with this or something. No, it's just literally the way the body is wired. Like it has a different experience, and that's reasonable. So I think it's really important, like you said multiple times, to keep that in mind that the playing field is not level in that regard. And so, for you, a practice that works for somebody else might just have a completely different result and is not at all it's not going to get you to the desired effect that, it would in somebody else. And that's just, you're going to have things that work for you that don't work for somebody else. The fun is that you get to explore for yourself and find out what works for you as well, because, it is the struggle of like writing inquiries and stuff that are kind of trying to reach everybody, because, firsthand, we all have such completely different versions of an inner world. And like I sent you in the email, it's really hard to find something that reaches absolutely everybody in that regard. So yeah, but we're really interested to hear more about it, because I would also, from the guiding, writing meditations and inquiries sort of thing, the more sense I can have of, what other people's experiences are, the more inclusive I can hopefully make them too.
I'll just say one last thing along those lines, Todd, and thank you, both of you, is an example of what's not helpful for someone like me. But there was sometimes all right. Well, so there was a while where I was very entranced with internal family systems, and I've sort of, it's not, I didn't find it ultimately helpful, but I was running into the same issues of aphantasia with trying to translate it, and I found a book called Somatic IFS. And I was like, oh, this is 100% for me.
Yeah.
And it was like, had all these sort of meditations in it, but all of them were like, go into your body. Now imagine there's a flame.
Yeah.
Picture a flame burning in your, so it was like everywhere, like the instruction was constantly, even a book about the somatic thing, it was
still visual.
Giving visual or say to yourself, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking that, I'm just thinking that my autism, I can't do guided meditations. You walk on a field and there's a pond, because I need more specifics. Where in the world am I? Because the field would be different if it's like, on the sub-Saharan continent, or it's like, if it's like, in Australia, or if it's like, so I need to know, and what season are we in? And I'm getting completely lost in those lack of information. So the meditation is over before I have even located where I am in the world. So those don't work for me at all. I need much more specific for that to work. Whereas what Todd does, I love Todd's guidings, because they're like, tailor-made for me, because it's very much about feeling the body, noticing what is happening, noticing a thought that is arising, so I can completely follow what it is that you talk about. Yeah, absolutely. Mine is just a different flavor of the same thing.
Thank you both.
So nice meeting you.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
So nice meeting you in person. Thank you so much. Thank you.
We'll be in touch at some point about putting together a panel too. We're glad you're interested in that.
Yeah, really happy about that. We have created a course of our first Feta material. This course will walk you step by step through all of the ways in which identification is created and selfing happens. If you've been struggling to see through the self-structure or have that first awakening shift, this course contains hundreds of tools to help you discover the selfing mechanisms when they're happening, and then see through the illusion of identification that are created. Along with over 14 hours of videos, this $49 course contains a full book worth of summaries, extrapolations on the videos, written inquiry suggestions, and other text. So work slowly, leave time for integration. This is powerful material, and it can be life-changing.